Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a different type of video, and I'm actually going to do half of my face in drugstore branded products and the other half of my face in high-end branded products, just to see how they work off against each other and how it looks at the end of the day as well. So I have also chosen products that are very similar in color, shade, texture to each other, so that I'm trying to get the absolute perfect match and to see, you know, what does work better. Some high-end products will probably work better than some low-end products, and that's really why you buy high-end products, is because normally they have the longevity behind them and they seem to work better as well. So let's just put this all to the test. So let's start off with our skin. So I'm going to use my right hand side, so this side, and I'm going to remember that because I got the extra piercing in this side, as my high end side, and then my left hand side of my face as my low end / drugstore branded products. Now, a couple of the products I would probably say are sort of mid-range that I have picked out for the high end, but then in comparison to the low end products, they are definitely a lot more expensive. So, and also products that I would put in my kit, in my professional kit, because they are amazing products. So I'm going to use Benefit Professional on this side and the Australis See You Later Pores on this side. Now already I can tell that the Professional is definitely not quite as slippy and silicone-y as what the Australis one. I feel like this one, even though there's been a bit of time difference, definitely feel like this is definitely a little bit more of a drier product, whereas this one is a little bit more silky, which sometimes can be a good thing and a bad thing. If you have got dry skin, then I think it will be really good. But if you have got oily skin, then you might find that your foundation or anything else that you put over the top might feel a bit too slippy. Okay, so I'm going to let those products sink into our skin, and we're going to do our eyes. So for eyes, on the high end side, I have got MAC Paint Pot in Groundwork, and on the low end side, I've got my Maybelline Color Tattoo. This is the leather one in Creamy Beige. I go in and tightline the upper waterline, and on the high end side I'm going to use my Australis Smoky Black Goddess pencil, and on the low end side I am going to use the Rimmel Soft Kohl Kajal eye pencil in black. And on my lower waterline I'm going to use the Australis Bronze Amulet Goddess pencil, and on the low end side I'm going to use my Australis, what is this, 10 Hour Wear waterproof eye pencil in Bombastic Bronze. And I'm going to smudge that into sort of my lower lashes as well. Okay, now on to the eyeshadows, and I'm going to use a palette that is pretty iconic. And that is the Urban Decay Naked palette, the very first original one, and it is going to come up against Maybelline the Nudes. So as I had said earlier, I wanted to use two palettes that had very similar colours, so that we could get a very similar look, and you can see how they work off against each other. So I'm going to do the high end side first, and then we'll go and do the low end. Also, with all the brushes that I'm going to use today, I'm actually going to use the exact same one, but I am going to wash off the product so that you can see that I am using the same brushes, and we're not using, getting a different look because we've used different brushes, if you get what I mean. Okay, so the first colour I'm going to go in with is Virgin, and I'm going to just do a light wash of that sort of all over the sort of lid area and up to the crease and up to the brow bone. All the brushes that I'm using today are the brushes that I have gotten from Jessup and Glamour, so that you can, they were in my last favourites video, so you can see how they all work. Okay, so the next shadow that I'm going to go in with is Naked, and then I'm going to go into Buck. So I'm going to pop these colours through the crease as my transition. And just run those colours on the lower lash line. I'm going to go in with Smog here and pop that all over the lid. Go back in with that blending brush. Grab a flat shader brush and go back in with Smog and pop that on the lower lash line. Grab a sort of flat rounded shader brush, going in with Buck and Naked and just blending out that Smog on the lower lash line. And wipe that brush off and going in with Sin here and popping that around the inner corner. In with that brush that you used for Smog and just blend that out so that there's no harsh lines. Ring finger, I'm going to pick up Half Baked, which is the gold colour, and pop that in the middle of the eye, where the ball of the eye is. And just blend it out with your finger. Just go back in with your big sort of fluffy brush that really doesn't have much product on it, and just make sure everything's all nice and blended. That's one eye done. Okay, picking up our Maybelline the Nudes palette and just going into this shimmery sort of colour here, which is very similar to Virgin, and popping that on your fluffy brush and popping that colour all over the lid and up to the crease and brow bone. Now going into this sort of matte light brown and then the darker matte brown here, and popping those two colours through the crease, very similar to the Naked and the Buck shades. Going in with this really bronzy colour here, and I'm going to pop that all over the lid, which is our similar colour to Smog. And blend out with our flat shader brush and popping Smog on the lower lash line, or the colour that's similar to Smog on the lower lash line. With our sort of rounded shader, flat shader brush with the two colours that we put through the transition, and pop those just on there just to blend out. Going into this colour here, which is a sort of shimmery champagne tone, and pop that around the inner corner. So this is the similar colour to Sin. And just blend out. And picking up our ring finger again and going in with the gold here and popping that in the middle of the eye. And then just blending out with that very first or second brush that we used to blend our transition colours. Now I'm going to go back in with the flat sort of shader brush and go back into the Naked palette, and I'm going to pick up a Creep, which is the second last shade, which is sort of a sparkly black kind of colour, and I am just going to just sort of drag that along the upper lash line. But I'm not going to bring it all the way in, I'm just sort of going to go maybe halfway. And that colour is very cool toned, so I am going to go into Hustle, which is the darker colour next to it, and just go over the top. Just to warm it up a bit on that lower outer corner. Going into the dark or the black in this Maybelline palette, and doing the same thing. Going into the darker brown here, and just layering that over the top just to warm that black up a bit. We are done with the shadows for the moment. I don't think I'll be going in. Now, one thing I can already see in my mirror in front of me is that the golds are very, very different. This one is a little bit more on the champagne-y gold. It's sort of picked up more champagne, and I think that's because the colour, the Smog underneath, is not quite as bronze, whereas on this side, the Smog similar shadow was very, very bronzy, so that gold has come out a lot more true gold, I guess. Yeah, so we'll see how they last. Rightio, we will go in with the skin now, and high end side I'm going to be using my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This is in the colour 6 and it's coming up against the Australis Eau to Glow foundation, which is that same thing that I've had issues with. What colour is this? Yeah, I'll leave it. As always, I'll leave all the products in the description box down below. I'm going to use a foundation brush. So just popping on the Giorgio Armani first. Okay, so that's probably given me about, I don't know, not quite medium coverage, I don't think. So, and that's alright with me because I want to do a little bit of cream contouring today, so I don't want to layer on too much stuff onto the face. So going in with the Eau to Glow on this side. Now I do think that these two foundations are going to be a little bit different coloured. I tried to match it up as best I could, but this one has definitely got a lot more of a neutral undertone. That Giorgio Armani one definitely has a bit more of a yellowy undertone. So hopefully by the time we've concealed and bronzed and all that kind of stuff, it won't be that different. Okay, so I'm going to go in and do my brows now while I let that foundation sort of settle into my skin. And on the high end side, I'm going to use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, and this is in the shade Soft Brown, and it's going to come up against the Eye of Oris Dynasty Brow Define, and this is in Medium Brown. And then going in on the low end side with the Eye of Horus Brow Pencil. And then setting those brows in place, on the high end side, the L'Oreal Brow Artist Pump Plumper, and then on the low end side, the Maybelline Brow Drama in dark brown. And popping on some mascara. On the high end side, I've got the what is this? Lancome Hypnose Doll Eye Mascara coming up against the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara. Okay, let's go in and do some cream highlighting, contouring and a bit of concealing as well. I might go in first and which will I do? I think I will highlight first. Yes. Okay. So I've got my Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour Palette here. Now this is the medium shade one, and it's going to come up against the brand new Models Prefer Contour Collection Contouring, Highlighting Contouring Palette, and this is a cream one that's just new out. So we will contour first, I think. Yes. But I'm not going to do anything too harsh. It's more going to be like bronzing the skin up, I think. Now, because this has come out of my professional kit, I'm going to be using a spatula to get the products out. But the other one is my own personal one, so don't need to worry about that. Wow, what colours are similar? Okay, I'm going to go in with the darkest one in this one, which is called Chocolate, which is this one down here, because I think it will match up best with the contour colours in the other kit. So I'm going to mix in from the Anastasia one the next shade down, which is called Cinnamon, because I've swatched both out on the back of my hand, and this is definitely a lot more darker than the Models Prefer one. So put it on the back of my hand, and I've got a concealer type brush. I'm going to warm the product up first to take off a lot of the excess, and we're just going to sort of create our contour lines. So around sort of the perimeter. Whoa, that is way off center. Whoa, Kate. from the model's preferred side, which, ooh, whoa, look how cool they are. Like, it's definitely not coming up on camera. This is definitely so much warmer. Wow, that's so different. So I think I've totally botched that nose contour, but we can fix that. We can come back from that. I'm going to use a sort of dome-shaped brush to blend this out. Now, as I said, I'm not really doing contouring as such, even though I'll put them in the contour areas. Really just want to bronze up, so that's why I'm using such a bigger brush, so that we can cover a lot of area. Really feel like this side of my face is going to look super, super duper warm. This side. Hopefully when it's blended out, it's not going to look too bad. And then we'll pop sort of powder over the top. Not too bad once we've blended that out. Not too bad. Pick up the yellow one, which is called Banana. I'm going to use this shade to sort of highlight. And going to, oh, I should have shown you before. The two colours, they look warm on camera, but I tell you they are so nice and cool toned. So those are the two colours that I picked up for sort of my contour. And then I'm going to pick up this middle one here, the yellow one, to highlight. So straight off the bat, I can already tell you that the Models Prefer one is definitely creamier. So just going to pop this where I would highlight. So you can see those colours are very, very similar. I think the only thing that's different is the texture. So I'm going to pop on a little bit of under eye concealer at the same time, so it'll all blend out at the same time. And it's sort of more that salmony kind of coloured concealer. So I'm going to go in with my YSL Touche Éclat, and this is in number 1, and it's coming up against my L'Oreal Lunie Magique in light. Whoa, too much product. So you can see that the Touche Éclat is definitely more salmon toned than this one, so it'll probably conceal a lot better. I'm going to go back in with that dome sort of brush, and I'll do the highlights first. Just be careful around the brow bone area that you don't mess up your brow. Oh crap, I'm supposed to wait to do that. And do this under eye area. So I'm just using a patting motion here. It does. In camera it looks really, really intense, but in person here it doesn't look too intense. Wow, I can really see that this side of my nose has got like a super warm contour. So funny. So the reason why we put that sort of highlighty bit underneath the contour is so that it just makes it pop, and it also cleans up any lines where you might have gone too far. Let me just blend this in under my eye area. Like I've got a sunburned nose. Okie dokie. So just going to go in with my foundation brush, and I'm going to just sort of go over the edges, over the whole face. I'm not putting any extra product on, just making sure everything's all blended out. So I don't think I need to be wiping the brush off because I've got no extra product on it as such. Go and conceal a little bit because I've got a little bit of a red dot here. It's not a blemish or anything, it's just a dot that's arrived on my face. And just sort of to colour correct a little bit underneath the eyes because it is quite salmon yellow toned at the moment. So on the high end side, I'm going to use my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, and this is in NC20, and it's coming up against my Maybelline Fit Me in medium. And just dotting that just under the eye area. And because I've got a little bit left over, I'm going to carve out my brow. So just using a small sort of brush here. I don't know what it is. It's a little sort of round synthetic round top brush, and just dot in that concealer. And then just blend out concealer where I sort of carved out my brow there. Now that I've done that with my brows, one thing I always in my sort of eye area is, once you've done all the concealing and everything, is I go in with that sort of brush that you first use sort of to get any transition colours and stuff like that, and I just go right around the edges to make sure that we haven't created any harsh lines or anything like that. It's just another blend, and just popping on. This one's a little bit darker, but it's a bit more salmon-y toned, so hopefully it won't look too odd. And if it does, I don't think it's going to look too out of place. I don't think anybody would see me in the street and go, oh goodness, you've definitely got, you know, 2 different brands of stuff all over your face. I think you'd have to be pretty damn good at picking that kind of stuff. And my brush is on the floor. Going back with that blending brush. I feel like, because of that Anastasia one is a lot more thicker and drier, I do kind of feel like it hasn't blended in as well as the nice sort of creamy Australis Models Prefer one. Now I feel like I need to highlight my nose because it is just looking a bit cray cray. So I'm just going to go in with my L'Oreal one and just run that down just to take out that warm contour down this side. It just looked really crazy. It probably didn't look so crazy in the mirror or in the camera, but in the mirror up close, holy moly, it looked cray town. Almost finished with all of the cream products. Just got one more left to do, and that is another highlighting thing, but this is more the shimmery side of things. So I've got my Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal, and I have got my Models Prefer Radiance Cream, and I'm going to use the middle sort of colour, which is very similar, that opally, pearly pink kind of colour. Popping some on the back of my hand, and popping it on the tops of my cheekbones, and inner corner, and part of the cupid's bow. If you haven't already noticed, I like to layer my products. And then just going in with that middle champagne-y sort of colour. I think we can start doing some powdering and stuff. Woo! Powders. On the high end side, I'm going to use my MAC Studio Fix in C4, coming up against my Australis Fresh and Flawless in darkest brown. And just using a large powder brush, tapping off a lot of the excess, and I'm just going to push this over the skin, not swiping or buffing, I'm just pushing it into the skin. Clean up the brush. I'm going into my Fresh and Flawless. God, I'm trying to figure out which to do. I'm going to set my under eye area. On the high end side, I have got my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit powders. So I have got banana and vanilla, and I will mix those two together to put under my eye area. And then on the low end side, I have got my Models Prefer contour kit, and I will go into the similar types of shade, the yellow and the creamy sort of coloured shade. I'm just going to use sort of a tapered brush. So going into the Anastasia Beverly Hills products first. Just a light wash, just to make sure that set all that cream, like concealers and stuff down. Just cleaning off my brush and going into the Models Prefer products. And just set those products down. And now we can bronze. So what I will be using, it's a little bit difficult because I have taken my Anastasia Beverly Hills products out of their little case and I put them into Z palettes. So I'm going to take Fawn and Havana. So Havana is a little bit more warmer tone, so I'll use that to bronze, and then Fawn is a little bit more cool tone, so I'll use that to, you know, etch out any contours. And then in the Models Prefer one, I'll use the middle one here, which is a little bit more cool toned, and then this one here, which is a little bit more sort of warmy toned as a bronzer. And I'm going to use a sort of stippling brush. So going into the sort of bronzy tone first, and go around the perimeter of my face. I can tell you now this is going to be a really long video. Try and cut out as much as I can. And then just going into that cooler toned colour and just sort of popping it over the contour sections to the bronzy type colour. And the Models Prefer. And then into the cooler toned one to contour as such. Now to put on some highlight. So on the high end side, I'm going to use my Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed in Opal, and then matching it up with the same Models Prefer Radiance highlighter and going in with that second one. And using the sort of tapered brush that we had earlier for under our eye area. Bit on my ring finger and into the inner corner. And top of the Cupid's bow. Pull up in the Models Prefer kit, that middle one. We're almost at the end, peeps. If you have stuck with me this long, well done you. Rightio, so for blush, I have picked up MAC's Warm Soul. It's a mineralized blush, and it's coming up against the Essence Silky Touch blush in Natural Beauty. Very similar. And for lips now, a lip product, I think I'm going to be, you know, eating lunch and stuff today, so I really don't think that unless you're wearing a liquid lipstick, which I really don't feel like putting one on today, that, you know, lipstick is one of those things that you do have to touch up. So I am going to use a lipstick and lip liner that I absolutely love, and the first one is the lip liner is the NYX lip liner in Mauve, and then going in with my MAC lipstick in Faux. Now I do have two different setting sprays to set my face with, so let's see how that works as well. So on the high end side, I've got my Model in a Bottle. This is the matte finish one. I think it's just the regular one, not the sensitive one or anything. And it's coming up against the Models Prefer Finale Makeup Setting Mist. So you're probably thinking, Kate, how are you going to spray half your face? Well, I'm clever. This is what you do. Pop product right down the middle here. Close your eyes. That one's intense. So intense. Whoa, spraying it onto that. You don't need to be set. Rightio, I would like to say that this one does smell a lot better than this one. So, yeah, up close in the mirror in front of me, yeah, I've got dots of water on my face at the moment while that's still starting to settle. Now that I have put everything on, the eyes don't look too different. I can notice one thing already close up. The brow products are slightly different in colour. And I do think I've wiped off part of this one as well. So let me just fix that up. So that was my Eye of Horus one. Can't have half an eyebrow wiped off. That's going to look really odd. So that was probably when I was carving out my brows. That looks a little bit better. Yeah, so I will try and check back in. It's 12:15 now, so what I will do is try and come back in about 2 hours time and let you know sort of how it's all sitting on my face. Obviously my lipstick may be sort of partially gone by then. Yeah, and then I will probably put in a photo or something at the end and write something in the description box down below how it sort of sat before I take my makeup off tonight. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how this is all going to wear. Especially since some of these products I've, not used, like that Professional mixed with the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. So it's all very technical sometimes to see what products will layer on top of other products. So sometimes that's what it can all come down to, is whether a product is going to like your skin and it's going to like the product that it's sitting on top of, and then layering on top of, on top of, on top of. So yeah, if you enjoyed this type of video, give it a thumbs up, and yeah, like, subscribe and share, and I will see you back here in a couple of hours. Bye. Okay guys, I'm back again for my final check-in. It's just gone 5:30. It is completely dark outside, so I've got my lights on above me and also in front of me to try and show how my face is looking. Sorry for the background noise. I have asked my kids to try and be as quiet as possible, but that's never ever going to happen. I do think that in the camera, once again, it looks better than what it does in person. I am shiny all over. It doesn't matter which side or anything like that, but I am really, really shiny. I'm going to grab just a plain old tissue and just pat over my face to take away as much shine as possible. Now, a fair bit of foundation has come off onto my tissue. Up close in the mirror, it is broken down completely around my cheek area here. There is pretty much nothing left holding on, especially under the eye area. On this side, it is sunk into my pores. You can actually see foundation in my pores. In saying that, where I've got my bronzer and my blush and my highlight, it's all stayed on absolutely perfectly. My brows have stayed on. My eyeshadows, there is nothing wrong there whatsoever. I still have a little bit of lipstick on, and it has broken down around my chin area, but not sort of around this part or sort of above, my top lip. My nose doesn't look too bad. Yeah, so all in all, I'm really happy with how everything has sort of worn during the day. It has been 5.5 hours thereabouts. Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's one of those things. You need to test out which primers go with which foundations and powders on top. It's all just a matter of picking and choosing what works with your sort of skin at the time as well. It has been quite a warm day, so even though we are in autumn, it has been around the 28-29 degree mark today. So eyeshadows, I'm super impressed with how those Maybelline shadows have held on, and I really do think that that's got to do with prepping the base and putting a proper base on that's going to hold those eyeshadows and not let them crease or anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.